So what's up, guys? If you guys were able to check out my last video regarding Netflix horror movies, you guys know that now I'm really getting into Netflix horror movies as a medium, just because there's so many different types that are coming out, and especially a lot that are being critically acclaimed. And there's one in particular that I wanted to speak about today. Veronica. I'm WIlkye Castro, and this is Talking Shots.
Sheath, it's the return of the blade and slice shade, getting paid until my silhouette fades. A mercenary, spit the levy versus scary sage, doing girlies dirty, splitting with.
So as you guys know, I'm a very big fan of horror movies, but there's a lot of subgenres of horror movies that I kind of try to avoid, more or less. I'm not a big gore fan because I feel most of the time gore doesn't really add anything to the story. It's just, you know, gross out factor. And another one that I'm not too into just because it's so repetitive is the possession movie subgenre. All of them are very repetitive. They follow the same exact format. So step one in you making your own possession movie, have the main character summon a demon in a weird way. It's never any normal thing. It's usually like, let's say it's a little girl and then she's playing Monopoly backwards on a Tuesday afternoon when the sun's out, but she didn't, you know, say sorry to the demon after she sunk his battleship. So now the demon is pissed, and the demon's always a dickhead. He's never a good guy. So now he just wants to haunt the family. Now the demon is in the house and the demon is a dickhead. He'll just start doing little small shit that the family will just leave up to coincidence. He'll walk around, he'll turn a light on, and then everyone's gonna be like, whoa, who left that light on? But the light switch is off. Then he'll do other shit like, I don't know, knock over a lamp, burn a Bible, I don't know, slap a crucifix. Dick shit. He's just a dick. So slowly the weird happenings that are going on in the house are getting so consistent that the family's like, hey, this isn't really normal. We should probably go see someone about this. And that's when they go to a character that I like to call the soothsayer. Typically, it's a spiritual person who's gonna try to give them some type of solution, you know, to try to get the demon out of the house, but the demon's already, you know, chilling in their beanbag and eating their fucking pizza rolls. And the soothsayer is gonna have some even weirder circumstance to actually get the demon out. I don't know, like pour salt on the floor while you're watching The Price is Right, but make sure that you're playing Yahtzee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The family trying to get rid of the demon. So now is when they actually take the soothsayer's advice and want to get rid of the demon. So they do, you know, the salt sprinkling and the whatever, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So they do all that stuff, and one of two things can happen. The demon will leave and the movie will end, because it could end at part 4. Or the demon's gonna get really, really pissed and then just start fucking everything up. So this is when the demon starts to really act like a dick. And I mean, like, he's a straight up dickhead. Like, he'll order softcore porn on your HBO account. He'll start making arguments about why dubbed anime is better than subbed. He'll start smoking Newports in your backyard and leave the butts everywhere. The demon's pretty much just like the world's shittiest roommate. One of two things can happen. One, he will either go crazy and murder everyone in the house because he's like, damn, this is a pretty nice crib and I really want to live here. Or two, which is I guess the better of the options, and I've seen a lot of possession movies do it, he'll leave, but he's most likely gonna take someone with him. I don't know, like the baby brother. Most likely it's usually the most innocent person within the movie. So, you know, like a slow brother, a really cute dog, a really attractive goldfish. So yeah, that's why I'm not a big fan of possession movies. They typically follow the same exact format. And even just hearing this, I'm sure you are now thinking of at least 5 different possession movies that follow the same, you know, pacing that I just mentioned. So what sets this movie apart from so many other horror movies is its directing. The direction that they go in gives you this very retro feel, especially like, it feels like it's almost an 80s indie film instead of a movie that actually came out about a year or 2 ago. If you guys don't know anything about Veronica, it's actually a Spanish film, and typically Spanish films, they take different leaps in what they want to do and how to present exactly what you're looking at. One of my favorite scenes within the movie isn't even a scary scene. It's actually a scene where she's walking from the soothsayer, which it happens to be Sister Death, one of the best characters within the movie. And then they show all these newspaper clippings beneath her as if like she's walking over all this information and ignoring it. And that's kind of the visualization that you get from that scene. Another great thing about the movie is the writing style. There is so much foreshadowing within the film that it starts giving you anxiety. You start trying to figure out when things are gonna happen, but they never happen at the moment that you think they are. So regarding the foreshadowing, they show it within the main character and even just shots within the film. The main character obviously is Veronica, the girl that plays with a Ouija board because she wants to speak to her dead dad. So you even see the changes within the main character. The teachers start speaking about her transgressions and her mistakes that she's doing, or even just small things like the way that her friends start treating her because of the events that happened at the beginning of the movie that catalyzed everything that goes on after. Another one that's incredible that's shown within the first 10 minutes, because of the fact that the solar eclipse is such a big thing, they start foreshadowing just with the explanation of how important or even how spiritual solar eclipses are to the film. Characters, especially in horror movies, tend to be so bland and paper thin because you think that the horror is gonna, make up for the fact that you wrote a one-dimensional character. Veronica does not do this. Every single character within the film feels like they have importance, or at least feels like they're actually doing something to add. For example, the soothsayer is Sister Death, a blind priestess who pretty much guides Veronica to try to end her, haunting possession, however you want to say it. So the actual best characters within the film are the 3 younger siblings of Veronica, who she takes care of, which are the 2 middle sisters, and then the little boy who wears these cute little glasses, and they're just all so lovable, and that's something that brings emotion out of you. And that's something great about a horror movie, that they can make you feel sentimental and you don't want to see bad things happen to these characters, which are just so lovable and actually do add to the story. They have reasons for being there besides just being cute. One of the biggest themes is the loss of innocence. You see Veronica start out as this innocent young girl that is this, pure little virgin that you would assume nothing would happen to, just like traditional horror movies go. Virgin always lasts to the end and doesn't die. So one of the most important themes that you see throughout the movie is the loss of innocence. Veronica starts off the film as this pure, kind girl who just has the right intentions, but as the movie progresses, you see her change and slowly start losing her innocence. There's one scene in particular that I wanted to speak about, which is where she gets her period for the first time, and that kind of shows her going into adulthood instead of being stuck in that mentality of a child. One of the next big themes that you see throughout the movie is envy and the want for someone else's life. Veronica, even early on within the film, you see her take these very long, staring wide shots at one of her neighbors who lives at the building across from her. She could see always through her window, and she really longs for the life that this other girl has. This girl has a father, this girl has a happy family. This girl doesn't even seem stressed. She just always seems happy and full of life, as compared to Veronica's life, which is more so filled with stress and responsibility and this lack of a complete family, which she always longs for. There was this very big hype, which is the reason that I saw the movie, about it being one of the scariest films of all time, that over 50% of the people that saw it couldn't finish it. And I didn't think it was extra terrifying, but it's one of those movies that sit with you, that even after you watch it, you think about certain scenes over and over again. And especially the buildup and the anxiety that you get from the way that they pace themselves is what really adds the fear. You know what it is to watch a movie? I saw this movie about 3 weeks ago at the time that we're filming this, and still that one scene where she sees the demon for the first time as her father fucking scares the shit out of me, man. He's butt naked in the middle of their living room, just repeating her name until she goes to him and sees him, and the next day she wakes up like she's completely fine. And it's not like that's just the one scene. I don't want to spoil anything else or even give anything else about the movie, but the last half hour, the buildup is so fantastic. The pacing is so good. At first, the movie is slow just so you start getting that feeling of, oh, maybe I can figure out what's happening. But then in the last half hour, you're like, what the frick is happening? I have no idea. If I had to rate this movie, it would be like a 4.5 out of 5. The only small thing that I can even complain about regarding the movie is that I like films where you are able to assume what the villain is, but they show you what the villain is or what he looks like very early on and they repeat it. I'm not saying I didn't like it, I'm just saying it kind of ruins that little bit of imagination that you would have left. Would I recommend it to anyone? Incredibly. Would I recommend it to people that are scared of horror movies? Even more, because you would probably piss your pants watching this. So remember guys, like, share, subscribe, follow our page, and show this video to anyone that thinks that horror movies are stale. I'm WIlkye Castro, and would you buy drugs from me?
That was not what I wanted, but it was funnier than what... Are you about to fucking make that beard jizz all over again?
I got excited, I covered my whole mouth with it.